Hi all, today Phone is presenting you the Samsung Wave 2. It's a successor of the original Wave down here. Hardware-wise, the two handsets are completely identical. 1 GHz Hummingbird chipset, 512 MB of RAM, 2 GB of ROM for installing applications. Design-wise, they are very similar. Same metal chassis with the same opening, diamond shaped here for the 5 megapixel cameras with LED flash. And the main difference is the screens. 3.7-inch super clear LCD on the Samsung Wave 2 and 3.3-inch Super AMOLED here on the original Wave. Also, the menu key underneath the screen on the Samsung Wave is diamond shaped and it's protruding a little bit, whereas here it's flat and of different shape. The original Wave has a screen that is a tad recessed, as you can see here, in both ends, whereas on the Samsung Wave 2 it's completely flush with the surface at the front. Let's examine the differences between the two screen technologies. The colors on the Samsung Wave are much more saturated than the ones on the Samsung Wave 2, which can be expected considering the screen technologies. Also, the Super AMOLED screen keeps the colors and the brightness almost unchanged at different angles, whereas on the Samsung Wave 2 they degrade quickly with changing of the angle, which is typical for LCD displays. But it's bright enough, the resolution is decent, 480 by 800 pixels, so we don't have complaints from the fact that Samsung didn't put a Super AMOLED screen on the Wave 2. It's battling its own supply issues with AMOLED screens, so that's understandable. Since the screen is bigger though, it's much more comfortable to hold the handset if you have bigger hands, and it has grown in size, of course. It's thicker than the original Wave, as you can see on the left. It's wider and taller, but as we said, the larger size makes it more comfortable for people with bigger hands. The differences software-wise are not big. On the original Wave we have the first edition of Samsung's own mobile operating system, Butter, whereas on the Samsung Wave 2 we have the latest edition, 1.2. Let's see if there are any differences. Butter 1.2 doesn't bring many visual differences compared to the previous versions, so we'll just walk you through quickly. Very smooth kinetic scrolling. There's social network integration, uniform book. The main difference that Butter 1.2 brings is the swipe-like keyboard. As you can see, it's pretty capable, although we're not trying too hard. Otherwise, the applications are the same in terms of functionality and looks as in the first version of Butter that's present on the original Samsung Wave. What sets Butter apart is a lot of things that you need third-party apps for in the other operating systems are integrated here. For example, there's song recognition built in directly into the music player. It supports the FLAC format, and the video player supports DivX and XVAD right out of the box, which can be set for many other handsets or operating systems. Browsing is fairly smooth on the Samsung Wave 2. There are some speed improvements compared to the first version of Butter in the original Wave, but as you can see, there's a little bit of lag, and also the browser compresses the pictures a lot to load the pages faster, which makes the whole page look uglier than it should be. Otherwise, pinch to zoom is smooth, scrolling is fairly smooth as well. Double tap works as it's supposed to. And one small gripe we have is the address bar here covers a part of the page whenever you touch the screen. But the biggest complaint is the lack of Adobe Flash support in the browser. It's not coming even with the next edition of Butter 2.0, which is coming in the summer. It will contain Flash Lite 4, which is far from full Adobe Flash support. So that's the main downside of the browser on the Butter operating system. The camera interface is the same touch-optimized interface we're used to see in many of Samsung's Android and Butter phones lately. a lot of shooting modes, effects, and other settings. As you can see, the possibilities are endless. And the pictures themselves turn out pretty good with a high amount of detail, especially in low light. This 5 megapixel camera performs very well. It's probably the same module that's in the original Samsung Wave, which turned out very good low light pictures. And the video is smooth with 30 frames per second. The contrast and details are very decent, despite the fact that this is a 5 megapixel shooter. And the highest end models now are with 8 megapixel or higher. It's a very capable camera, and we can definitely recommend you the Samsung Wave 2 as a photography device, casual photography of course. In the end, I would say that since Samsung didn't go with a Super AMOLED screen for the Samsung Wave 2, the main wow factor is gone now, but it's still a very capable handset. The screen is bigger, 3.7 inch now, so the phone is thicker, slightly larger, but if you have bigger hands it makes it more comfortable to handle and operate with one hand as well. Also, there's very good call quality present on the Samsung Wave 2. A capable camera, probably the same model that was on the original Wave, is here, 5 megapixel with LED flash that takes very good pictures in low light situations, very smooth video, 30 frames per second. And we have the latest version of Bada here, which doesn't bring something extremely new to the table, but it brings swipe-like keyboard and also some bug fixes. Still, there's no Adobe Flash in the browser, which is the main downside of the Bada operating system for now, but hopefully they'll fix it later on in the summer when there's Bada 2.0 coming out. Basically, if you find this handset for a decent price, it's a very capable phone, so we can definitely recommend it.